Next, we will need an input box for the content, along with its corresponding description. Just below that, there should be a button to submit the payment, and at the very bottom, a prompt. So let's start by adding a view. Similarly, we name this view. Here we'll place the content for the input box and set its width to 100%. Then the height adapts to the content. The spacing below is 24. The layout is also from top to bottom, but we want it aligned to the left. There's no background color, so we remove it. A prompt explains it. Let's adjust the spacing. The bottom margin is 12. Then let's adjust the font size to 12 and set the line height to 20. We can also go ahead and modify the font color. Next, we need a quantity input here. We can directly use the number input here, but it doesn't look great, so we'll create our own. First, we add a view. Name this view. Then set its width to 100% and its height to fit the content. We want it to be arranged from left to right and centered. Gap is 16. No background color. Inside a decrease button, input and increase button. Let's make the decrease button. Similarly, add a view. And name it. Width and height are 48. Internal layout centered. Set the border radius to 24. There's no background color, just a border. The border width is 2. Then go ahead and place a minus icon inside. set both the width and height of the icon to 20. Let's change its icon. Next, we need an input box inside. Let's move this input box between the buttons. For the input box, set the type to integer with a default value of 50. Width 128, height 64. Similarly, set its border radius to 14. It has no background color, but it does have a border. We'll select the same unified color we used earlier for the border. The border width is also 2. Set the font size to 30 and align it to the center. We also set its text color to make the overall design more consistent. Okay, the styling is complete. Next, add a prompt below for the min and max values. Add a text element and name it. Then, for the text content, next, let's go ahead and set a minimum and maximum value for it. Then here we need to input a single purchase price. So we can go back to the overall page, click on the home page, and here is a data source. We can add a filter here. Now we want to find the credit unit price. Select system config. Then for the request type, choose query and set the filter condition to key equals credit price. Once this is configured, you will be able to retrieve the corresponding data. Then click on the database and we'll add a new record. Since your unit price might have decimals, we can set this to 1.1. Now let's go back to the modal. Return to this text element. Here we can type a /, go to data source under in-page data, find credit underscore price, and then select the decimal value we just entered. Then we just move the text up. Enable multiple lines as the content might be lengthy. Similarly, set width to 100% and height to fit. Set top margin to 8. The font size is 12 and the line height is 16. Center it. Also set the text color to make the whole design more unified. Now this styling is complete. Two elements remain, a payment button and a reminder text below it. Let's continue and add a button. Name this button. Then here we need to display the total amount to be paid for this transaction. We can select formula, then choose multiplication. Select the text input. And unit price from credit price under in-page data. I missed renaming an input box earlier. It's best to add it. Okay, there's one last text reminder at the bottom. Let's go ahead and add a text component here and then change its name. Modify the content and enable multiple lines. Similarly, set the width to 100%, height to auto fit, and center it. Font size is 12, line height 16. Pick an appropriate theme color. Spacing to the button above is 16. Okay. After finishing this part, we are still missing a little something in the styling. First, we need a way to close this modal. Click the modal and enable the close on click overlay option. This allows you to close the entire view simply by clicking outside it. We can also add a close icon. So let's configure this image. Give it a name. First, let's adjust the layout settings by changing the position type to absolute. Next, we want to position it in the top right corner. To achieve this, set both the top and right margins to 24. Finally, establish the specific dimensions of the element. Set both the width and the height to exactly 20. We can also set the cursor type on hover. Next, under the action section, you can search for hidden. Then, when this button is clicked, the modal will close. Okay, our styling configuration is now complete. Now, we need to take a moment to configure the corresponding behaviors. First, if the minimum value is set to 10, then the decrease button cannot go below 10. For the same reason, the increase button cannot exceed 1000. Decrease button first. For the decrease button, set the input box content. Select the corresponding input box, set the value to a formula, and make its original content -10. Similarly, paste this onto the increase view. Change the minus sign to a plus sign. Here, we also make the input box at 10. Okay, next, on the input box side, we can add a condition for when the data changes. If the input box content is less than 10, we simply set it to 10. Let's paste again. We don't need a formula here, just set it directly to 10. Similarly, we will also configure what happens if the input box content is greater than 1000. Next, we will set the input box content to 1000. To ensure it works, even if it fails to trigger, we can duplicate it to execute when the component loses focus. And moving on to the payment side, we can also add this logic and condition here. Add limits. If all conditions are met, the action executes. Similarly, click on Action Flow, add an action, and name it Payment. Okay, first we set our input. For the input, we need to obtain the quantity he wants to purchase, which is typically an integer. Next, we need to get the current user ID. This way we know who made the purchase and who initiated it. Check the transaction unit price. Add query data, name it to query unit price. Select system_config for the table and set the filter condition where the key equals credit price. Okay, then below this, we set an insert. Insert our purchase record. We also need to make sure to give it a name. This is the payment_record. For price, we multiply the input quantity by unit price. We also need the quantity for the single purchase and who made the purchase. Okay, after inserting, we'll update the balance in the account table. Choose increment for the balance. Then the value to update is selected from the credit_added of the insert payment record above. This ensures the added amount matches the inserted amount above. Set the filter ID equals account ID. Return. We also need to set the input. Next, the selected amount. Then, on success, notify the user. We also need to refresh the logged in user's data. Finally, close the modal. Okay, the payment configuration is complete. Back to the top for more styles. If the balance hits zero after payment, let's show a red warning box. Click this view and in the design panel, convert it to a conditional view. Okay, as you can see, there's already a case 0 right here. Let's go ahead and duplicate it, and then we'll give them separate names to keep things nice and organized. Now, the first one is specifically for when there are credits available, and the second one is going to be for when there are absolutely no credits left. The condition for the first one is that the logged in user's balance is greater than 0. And the other one does not need a condition set. Then we click on the area below for when there is no balance. This view, set it to 0. Let's change these icons. First, we change its color. We can set its background color to red. Then set the opacity to 10. The border is also set to red with an opacity of 30. Next, we can also change the icon inside here. Next, we'll adjust the text color. And then we'll also change the background color of the button here. Okay, so with this conditional view, by showing different styles conditionally, the credit recharge reminder is now complete.